Hi, this is Troy Bennett.
And this is Seth Koenig.
And this is the Bangor Daily News Photos of the Month for January 2018. So the first photo here is one I took. Some sea smoke. I took this from the East End in Portland at the beginning of the month.
There was a lot of good photos to pick from here. I particularly like this one because there's a lighthouse in it. You know, that's such an iconic Maine symbol. But there are other photos that you took during the same shoot that are great, and I encourage our readers to go down and click on that link.
And of course, there's a video too. And the second photo we've got here, this is by our colleague Gabor de Grey. I think we know what ice fishing looks like, but I'm not sure we know what it looks like from that angle.
Yeah, that's a beautiful angle, and one of the things that I've heard photographers like yourself say is to kind of frame a shot with the rule of thirds, and the way you want it to look. And right here we have the shiny thrashing fish in the bottom right third, and you've got the fisherman up in the top left third, and you've got that sort of diagonal look there.
If you look at the guy first, then the pole leads to the fish, but if you see the fish first, the opposite is true. So it works both ways. It's nice.
It's a really great shot.
This is a photo by our colleague Joe Sear. He took this up in Madawaska. He works for the Holton Pioneer Times. And Joe, in addition to being a great photographer, he is the main winner of the National Sports Media Association Sports Writer of the Year Award this year. He just won it this month.
And he's a good photographer, too.
Yeah, this is a rustic, Southern rustic high school playing Madawaska. And I never get tired of high school basketball photos because I just love to see the drive in these kids. Look, they're on the floor, they're grappling for a ball, and they don't get paid money.
They're not getting paid millions of dollars to do this.
No, they just want to win a basketball game. And, geez, I never get tired of seeing that.
This is a photograph from our one of our outdoors writers, Aislinn Sarnacki. She went up to Skowhegan and did a story on a woman who breeds sugar gliders, which are like marsupials from Australia who have this sort of web skin between their legs.
Like a flying squirrel?
They've got a flying squirrel thing going to them. And this was just a really well, and again, it's another well laid out shot. You've got interesting light on her. You can see the care in her face. She's smiling down at these creatures.
She obviously adores them. And the light, it looks like a Renoir. It looks like an old Dutch master. Obviously, there's like a big window or something off to the right. And Aislinn really caught her in the right spot. And the whole thing is just gorgeous. Oh, here's a photo I took at Carousel Horse Farm. I just spent a day taking sleigh rides out there, and it's in western Maine. It's in the foothills, and that's Mount Washington up in the background there. She let me off in the middle of this field, and I was going to get some long shots of the horses going by, and I could see that there was this incredible afternoon light. The light was already gone from where we were, but it was still hitting the top of Mount Washington in the background. And I just stood and hoped that she would go back by and go through that opening in the trees, and lo and behold, she did, and I got this. I used a long lens again. And this is a photo by a writer and photographer who works for the BDN named Nick Sambides.
So a huge storm whips through and causes mass flooding everywhere, and it lifts this historic shed up from Lubec and carries it over to Canada and dumps it on the Canadian beach. And as far as I can tell, there were no immigration officials checking it for its passport or anything. It just waltzed over. And
thanks, Homeland Security.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, Border Control. So waltzed across the water there and got dumped on a Canadian beach. Some Canadian folks came out, started sort of picking some of the good wood off of it, and there were some harsh words and hurt feelings. Some folks on the Lubec side wanted their
fish shack back.
Iconic fish shack back, their landmark building back.
I guess it's calmed down now because this guy here, his name was Mike Calder. He was taking it apart partially and was going to truck some of it back to Lubec, right?
Right, I believe that's the case. Yeah.
He's taking a break here. And it's a nice, well composed, and you can't always have a photo of someone looking off the frame in the corner like that, but it works well here.
This is one of our better photos this month. I mean, I really like this one.
I've done a lot of pictures of kids sledding over the years, and you're always looking for something that sets it apart, and I thought this one worked. I was tracking this girl down the hill with my long lens, and just before she got to the bottom near me, this other kid crossed in front of her with a sled, and she sensed imminent disaster, although nothing happened. She skidded by right up to where I was standing, and I got her name, and no blood was shed.
Here's one by Gabor that I really found great.
It's a weather photo. If it snows, we got to take photos. If it rains hard and there's a little bit of flooding, also got to take some photos. Weather is a story that affects every single one of our readers, and they can't get enough of it. So Gabor used a slow shutter speed here, something less than a half a second. I don't know, something maybe around a 20th of a second, it looks like to me. And he panned with the car and left the shutter open for that 20th of a second. Got a little splash, got a little blur out in the background. Just a little creative effect to bring some visual interest to a story that everyone's going to look at. And finally, here's a photo I took. It's not a news event at all. It's what you'd call a found photo, a feature photo, a standalone photo.
It's a hashtag no filter.
No filter here.
Hashtag no filter. Yeah, it's one of the things I like about. Maybe it's just a quirk of the human eye or something, but shapes and lines jump out at me, and there's a lot of shapes and lines here.
And that's the end of the BDN Photos of the Month for January 2018. I'm Troy Bennett, and this is
Seth Koenig,
and we'll see you next month. Thanks for watching.